Now let us see anecdotal records. What is anecdotal record? Actually, this anecdotal record is derived from a Greek word anecdotal, right? Anecdote. So what does it mean? Let's see. Anecdotal records are brief narrative accounts of specific incidents or behaviors observed by teachers in the classroom or learning environment. So always remember, whenever you hear the word anecdotal, remember that it includes the incident. What does it include? It includes the incident, all right, which has happened in a student's life. So anecdotal records are brief narrative which will consist like a story type, all right. It will consist a student story. Suppose on this and this date, it also has got date, all right. Suppose on the 13th of January, this and this event took place in the life of the student, maybe good event or bad event or any incident, right? So those things are noted down in the anecdotal records, and these the teacher can do by observing the student in the classroom, in the school, or in any learning environment. Purpose. What is the purpose of anecdotal record? So to provide a focused and detailed description of a student's action. So anecdotal records can provide a student's detailed description of how he is performing in scholastic areas, in co-scholastic areas, co-curricular activities, sports activities, or in discipline, or in any other field which is given to the student which is given to the student in the process of learning. To track behavioral patterns and developmental milestones. So it also keep a track on how the students behave in the classroom, in the school, in the family, in the market areas, in the sports ground, and what are the developmental milestone he or she has achieved, like cognitive development, emotional development, social development, physical development, moral development, right? So all these domains can also be analyzed in anecdotal records. Now, to support decision making for individualized instruction or intervention. Also, the teachers, they allow the learners in decision making. They encourage or they support the learner in decision making process, right? Where the teachers, they ask the learners to take their own decisions, right? What are the key features? Descriptive, provides factual and unbiased accounts. So now remember, it is very important that a reflective journal provides fact about a child, factual knowledge about the child, and it is unbiased. It gives the fact, it talks on the basis of fact, and it is not biased, no discrimination, no manipulation here, right? Whatever is true, that is written in anecdotal record. Focused on behavior, centers on specific observable action or interaction. So reflective journal focus on how the child behaves, right, with the parents, with the peers, with the friends, with the elder ones, or with the teachers. Concise, written shortly after observed incident for accuracy. So concise means in a short form or in a short piece. So anecdotal records are written in a concise manner, in a short manner, once the incident has occurred, and it is written with accuracy, which means no misinformation or no false allegations are written there. Whatever is the truth, only that is written in the anecdotal record. Now, what are the examples? Noting how a student helped a peer solve a puzzle, showcasing teamwork. Now, in your anecdotal record, you can also include when you give group activities. Suppose you have asked them to solve a puzzle, so how each student have come together and solved that particular process. That also you can include in your anecdotal record. Observing a child's reaction to a new learning activity to assess interest. So you can also observe a child's interest or a child's attitude or a child's reaction when you introduce him or her to a new learning process or activity. For example, the children of class 2-3, when you give them access to computers, so how do they behave? So that can also be noted down in the anecdotal record. So I think this is all in this video. So thank you everyone for watching. Compare the three methods of child study, that is reflective journals, student portfolio, and anecdotal records. So let us see, what do we mean by reflective journals, what do we mean by student portfolio, and what do we understand by anecdotal records. So these topics are very important with your exam point of view. I have seen these anecdotal records coming many times in exams, alright, so be careful with that. Definition: personal documentation of thoughts and learning experiences. So when we talk about reflective journal, it means the personal information or the thoughts and the learning experiences of the learner. Now, if we talk about student portfolio, it is what? It is a collection of work like artwork or pictures or photos or activities or essays, right? So those things will come in student portfolio. Now, anecdotal records, so narrative records of specific incidents or behavior. So in anecdotal records, you will find the real life event or the incidents. All right, remember the word incident when we talk about anecdotal records. Focus: what is the focus of reflective journal? Its focus is on self-realization or self-reflection and critical thinking, right? In student portfolio, it is about academic process and achievement. So how you are progressing in your academics and how much achievement you have got. Now in anecdotal records, it is about observable actions and behavior of the learner. So you can observe how the learner behaves, what are the events going on in his or her life, what are the improvement he is doing in his scholastic and co-scholastic areas. Then format: when we talk about format, reflective journals include written reflections or journal entries. So in a written form, in a reflection is in a written form. So reflective journals you find in the written form. Student portfolio, it is a collection of arts or reflections, all right? As I told you before, like pictures, essays, etc. Concise narratives. Anecdotal record means concise narrative, which means it includes small but very important incidents and events of an individual's life. What's the purpose? To encourage self-awareness and evaluation. So when we talk about reflective journal, it means to encourage yourself for your self-evaluation. When we talk about student portfolio, it means showcase skills and document growth. What are the skills you have acquired and all the growth or domains of areas, suppose physical development, mental development, physical growth, mental growth, emotional growth, social growth, those things are also taken into account. Now when we talk about anecdotal record, it means to provide a detailed account of incidents for analysis. So what are the different incidents which might have taken place in the student's life? Content: subjective and personal. So reflective journal is subjective as well as it is very personal. Now a student portfolio is diverse and it aligned with goals. What are the goals? And the anecdotal record, as I told you, it is factual. It depends on the fact. No lies here, no false information here, right? Usage: self-assessment and communication tool. So reflective journal is used for self-assessment and communication tool. However, student portfolio is used for evaluation and presentation of learning experiences, and anecdotal record is used for behavioral tracking and instructional planning, right? Examples: writing about feelings after a group activity. So when you are writing something or whatever has happened in your group activity or in the classroom, just like a diary, right? We write diary after an event, like today I went to my friend's party, there we enjoyed. So those things, type of things, are known as reflective journal. Now artwork, essays, and project reports. So these are what? These are your student portfolios. These can be included in your student portfolio. A note on how students solve a conflict. So regarding a reflective journal, example given here is a note on how students solve a conflict. So you might have seen children are fighting among themselves, and how one boy comes, whose name is Eminem, he comes and solve the problem. So you can include that event also, that incident also, in the student anecdotal record. All right, so I think this is all in this video. So thank you everyone for staying connected with the short tutorials Meghalaya's first MTET channel. Thank you.